Welcome into Boston Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am Chase Sr., and coming up, we have a loaded show for you. But first, I want to thank you for helping us grow the channel. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers, though, so if you haven't already done so, hit that big red button down below and subscribe to Celtics Today. If you're sitting at home asking, why should I do that? Well, we're bringing you the latest news and rumors, multiple videos every week, and as we approach the playoffs, we're going to up our coverage a little bit, and if the Celtics make the playoffs, we're going to bring you Celtics playoff game recaps. And also, it is never too early for NBA mock draft season. If you want to learn about these prospects, we'll let you know about them. So hit that big red button down below, subscribe to the channel, and go to youtube.com/CelticsTV. Welcome into Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Chase Sr. Appreciate all of you for rocking with us. Let's get into the latest news and rumors around the Celtics, and I want to start off with Jayson Tatum because we know that this guy has been cooking as of late, and he was recognized for his awesome play. Jayson Tatum was named the Eastern Conference Player of the Week for April 5th to 11th, and he really put the Celtics team on his back during a time when the Celtics really needed it, led Boston to a 3-1 record, and it appears as though the Celtics are starting to find their groove. And this is what Tatum did from April 5th to 11th. He was going off 31.5 points, 8.5 rebounds. His creation numbers, they don't blow you away by any means, but the Celtics have needed him to score, and he has done just that, and he's been awesome from the field, shooting the lights out, 50.5%. But you'd never know that Jayson Tatum has been undergoing a serious battle with COVID-19 since testing positive several weeks ago, if you were to watch him of late, but he has. This is what he had to say about his battle with the coronavirus. Quote, "It's a process. It takes a long time. I take an inhaler before the game since I've tested positive. This has kind of helped with that and opened up my lungs. And, I never took an inhaler before, so that's something different. I for sure feel better now than I did a month ago." This guy has had trouble breathing, yet he's been playing like an MVP, especially over the last 11 games, averaging almost 30 points a night. Again, the rebound numbers are there as well, and it's really his efficiency and effectiveness shooting the basketball that has allowed the Celtics to climb up the Eastern Conference standings, allowing them to now win 4 games in a row, shooting more than 50% from the floor, and his numbers from the outside just awesome. Above league average at a 40+% clip. So Jayson Tatum, when Brad Stevens has needed him to kind of shoulder the load for the Celtics team, he has risen up to the occasion, and he's been playing like an MVP. And he was taking a lot of criticism from a lot of people who were saying, Jayson Tatum, you need to step up, and he has done just that. So you watch Jayson Tatum over the last couple of weeks. I want to pose this question to the audience. Should we consider Tatum to be a superstar at this point? Has he gone from all-star to superstar? This is your opportunity to get involved in the show. Type Y for yes, he should be deemed a superstar, or type N for no. I think sometimes it's really hard to forget that Jayson Tatum is only 23 years old. If I would have told you back in 2017 when he was drafted number 3 overall that he would be playing at this clip, I think you'd take that and you'd be blown away. His development year after year after year has been awfully impressive. And Jayson Tatum, yes, he is a superstar right now, but I think sometimes we try to anoint these guys a little too early. You got to remember, this guy's only 23 years old and he's playing like this. Wow, he's been blowing a lot of people away. Now, I mentioned that criticism that Jayson Tatum had received because this has been a mysterious season for the Celtics. They were hovering around 500 for a long time, and that caused Kendrick Perkins, former Boston Celtic, current NBA and Celtics analyst for NBC Sports Boston, to tweet this after the Celtics got blown out by the Sixers last week. He tweeted, "Jayson Tatum, you got paid the big bucks. You have the body language and energy level of an underpaid player, and it's hurting the team. Time to step up and live up to your role straight up." And his trademark, "Carry on." And Kendrick Perkins was on NBC Sports Boston, and he detailed that conversation that he had with Tatum because Tatum called him about this tweet. And this is what Perk had to say. I told him, hey man, I'm a huge fan of yours. I've been a huge fan of yours. I just feel like you have it in you to elevate your game even more. You can get 25 points in your sleep, but I think that you could separate yourself and be up there with the superstars, and I feel like you've got more in your game and that you can take over this team, and he's been doing just that. He also said this about that conversation with Tatum. The thing that I appreciate about him, he didn't get sensitive. He didn't go back at me on Twitter or social media. Guess what ended up happening? We actually had a phone conversation and we talked about it. Perk, you're speaking the truth. I wish all of America could take that approach as well. When you get criticized, hey, work on your flaws, work on your weaknesses, and get better. That's what Tatum has done, and I love that mindset from him. So what do you think, Celtics fans? Were the tweets from Perk necessary? Did Jayson Tatum need to be called out? If you think he did, type 1 for yes. If not, type N for no. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Newsbreak. So when I wake up in the morning and I try to get ready for my workday, yes, I need to stay up to date and informed on everything going on with the Celtics and the NBA, but I'm a well-rounded, versatile dude, so I also like to keep track of everything else going on in the world right now, because staying on top of current events, very, very important given what I do and some of my interests. And if you go to chatsports.com/CelticsNB, you know how you can kind of be like me? Hey, you download the Newsbreak app. It is one of the best apps that I have on my phone right now because I'm really able to stay informed on everything going on in the world, and it pops up on one single feed, and I get all of this information from all of my local news sources. So this is what the Newsbreak app offers you: local news and weather, politics, pop culture, and food, as well as your sports content. And while you're at chatsports.com/CelticsNB and downloading the app on your iPhone or Android, Celtics Today is also on the app as well. So you can check us out on YouTube, or you can check us out on the Newsbreak app. Just give Celtics Today a follow, and all of the news, rumors, and videos that we're putting out there will show up on the Newsbreak app. You're watching Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Chase Sr., and it is never too early to look ahead to the NBA draft and start looking at some of the draft prospects that the Boston Celtics should target during July's NBA draft. And over time, we're going to add to this list, but these are some prospects that I came up with for today's show. I think the Celtics are going to be in play to target an Ayo Dosunmu, point guard from Illinois, Sharife Cooper, point guard from Auburn, or maybe they elect to go after a big man like Greg Brown from Texas if he does declare for the NBA draft, or possibly Kai Jones. Now, we don't know where the Celtics are going to pick in the draft. It could be in the mid to late teens or in the 20s, depending on their playoff seeding, if they do make a run at the NBA playoffs. But as of now, these prospects look to be available in the teens to 20s. So that's why I listed these prospects here. Let's kick it off with Ayo Dosunmu. So I actually watched and covered this guy when he played for Morgan Park out of Chicago, and I'm really excited about this prospect, and I think he could offer some great value in the teens or 20s where the Celtics figure to be selecting. He has great size and athleticism for a point guard. He's going to measure in at about 6'4" or 6'5", and a lot of people like to get younger college prospects. I actually think his experience at Illinois is going to pay big dividends. He played 3 years for the Fighting Illini, played in a bunch of great games, and helped Illinois win a Big Ten championship this past year. And what I love, too, about Ayo Dosunmu, it's his character and his leadership. Those are qualities that I don't think you can understate. Ayo Dosunmu has those. He also has a knack for coming through in crunch time and in the clutch. He hit so many big shots for this Fighting Illini team, and I certainly think that that clutch gene translates to the NBA level. If you look at weaknesses, I do think that Dosunmu can improve from three, especially on catch and shoots. He does like to come off screens and get going with some momentum when he lets it fly from beyond the arc, but overall across the board, I do think he needs to improve his three-point shot to maximize his potential at the NBA level. Let's go to Sharife Cooper now. Another really intriguing prospect. He was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school as well as a McDonald's All-American. And we saw in limited action at Auburn, because he was deemed ineligible by the NCAA to start the season, that this guy can fill up the scoreboard. Average more than 20 points. He's also a really good creator for his teammates. He was dishing out more than 8 dimes a night. Now, he is tiny. He's listed 6'1". I think that's that's generous. I think he's more in the 5'10", 5'11", 6-foot range. He's tiny, but he makes up for it with his shiftiness and his quickness. Now, he, like Ayo Dosunmu, needs to improve his efficiency from the floor. Abysmal shooting percentage, only 39+% from the field, and he shot less than 23% from deep. So for this guy to have success at the NBA level, those numbers definitely have to get better. Let's go from the backcourt to the front court now, and we have 2 Texas guys who we're going to hit on. First, Greg Brown. So his physical tools pop off the screen when you watch some tape of this guy, and he has boatloads of potential. This is a guy who is a high flyer, and his length is also something that really pops out when you watch him. Now, what I like about him, he's starting to slowly develop a spot-up 3. So if he can kind of extend the floor and be a stretch 4, he will have much more value at the NBA level. And I also like that he can handle the rock a little bit. Now, those are skills, handling the basketball and shooting, that he's going to need to continue to develop, but at least he has that in his package right now as a young prospect. Here's the thing with Greg Brown. He is not officially declared for the NBA draft, and he could return to Texas, so we'll see what happens with him, but if he does declare, the Celtics could look to draft him. Lastly, Kai Jones. Kai Jones. To me, the pro comp that I'm going to throw out there, he's kind of a skinnier Robert Williams. Robert Williams has bulked up since getting drafted out of Texas A&M. Kai Jones, a skinnier version of him. He really needs to add weight if he's going to play the 4 or 5 at the NBA level. And like Robert Williams, he's going to rise up. He's got pogo sticks. He's got bunnies. He can catch lobs. He can block shots. And slowly but surely, it's going to take a little while. I don't think he's going to be an impact player from day one, but he is starting to develop a little bit of a shot. Now, he kind of dribbles into it. He can maybe catch and shoot a little bit, but at least he's adding that to his offensive arsenal. And as I mentioned, he does need a lot of fine-tuning, but the potential for Kai Jones is certainly there. So I just threw out 4 NBA draft prospects that the Celtics could target in July's NBA draft. Do us a favor, get into the comments and list a player or 2, a prospect that you want us to highlight in the video upcoming in the future. This helps us out greatly because we do go into the comments to see what you say, and if you give us some NBA draft prospects that you want us to highlight, we will do that on a future show.